Today, being the 1st of July of 2025, we shall be disclosing and critically analyzing one of the biggest and one of the greatest news and updates coming out from the country of Finland, the country of South Korea, the country of Kenya, and the country of Nigeria regarding the case of Simon, a man held in Kilamakoski Correctional Center and a man who is currently facing trial in Finland. As we speak, the government of South Korea has vowed to stand solidly behind Simon, and also they have promised to send their delegate to Finland so as to witness and to experience Simon's bail application trial that will commence in essence tomorrow being the 2nd of July of 2025. So the question here is, how will the presence of South Korea favor Mr. Simon in the court of law, and how will all of these things play out tomorrow being the 2nd of July? Well, in this video we shall be critically analyzing and showcasing every single thing that you need to know and understand at this particular point in time. In this same video we shall be disclosing one of the biggest updates regarding Nnamdi Kanu, a man held in the DSS Correctional Center or facility as the case may be. We have a latest update that will definitely go a long way and play a decisive role in his case against the federal government of Nigeria. This video is going to be a very, very interesting and fascinating one, and I will urge you to watch it up until the very end so you don't miss out on critical details and analysis. First thing first, let's start with the case of Simon, a man held in Finland. As stated previously, the government of Korea, South Korea, will send delegates to Finland so as to witness his bail application for tomorrow's court hearing. So the question here is, why is the government of South Korea so much interested in Simon, and how did the government of South Korea got to know about the Biafra movement? Well, it all kick-started one morning when the USB leaders, including Simon himself, the prime minister of the movement, received a notification and a mail coming from the South Korean government inviting them for a peace summit in their country. When the government of the USB movement received this notification, it came as a shocker because nobody was expecting the USB to be invited for a world summit in a country like South Korea. Interestingly, South Korea also invited Nigeria to this summit. Showing right now on your screen is a clear and distinctive info that showcases the fact that Nigeria was also invited. Interestingly, many felt like the Biafran government will not attend this summit because of Nigeria's delegates who will be in attendance and who will also speak in that event and summit, but that wasn't the case. The Biafra movement and the USB government prepared its team and sent a delegate to South Korea to attend this summit, speak in this summit, and submit official application to the government. Showing right now on your screen is a tweet released by Simon that will give us more clarity and a better understanding regarding this invite from South Korea. It states, breaking updates from the World Peace Summit today, being the 18th of September of 2024 in South Korea, as the Biafran Chief of Staff gallantly representing the Biafran government. So the moment Simon released or published this tweet, many felt like it was mere propaganda. Many felt like it was actually impossible for the USB, for the Biafran people, to attend a world summit where other African leaders, other world leaders were equally invited. So many felt like this was just pure propaganda and Mr. Simon was just using this summit to chase definite and absolute clout. But things got really, really interesting. Showing right now on your screen is a video taken by the DPM in the person of Ngozi Orabueze, where she was live in person in South Korea in attendance to this particular summit held in that country. Showing right now on your screen is also a picture she took with some officials in that particular part of the world. So the question here is, how will this help Simon, and how will the attendance of the Biafran people in South Korea help him tomorrow being the 2nd of July 2025 when he's going to appear before the Paijahame District Court to continue with his bail application? Well, for better understanding, let me show you something that you need to know and see at this particular point in time. Showing right now on your screen is a tweet coming from Simon himself. It states, and I quote, "The Biafran COS, Dr. Ngozi Orabueze, representing Biafran government, led by the Peace Ambassador, His Excellency Simon, at the 10th anniversary of the September 18th HWPL World Peace Summit in South Korea, This event at the Peace Museum focuses on creating world peace community through regional coordination. HWPL proposes the enactment of international law for the cessation of wars and world peace. Take a look at the last line. The HWPL proposes the enactment of international law for the cessation of wars and world peace in the world. So these organizers were solidly supporting the USB movement. But things got really interesting the moment Ngozi Orabueze took to the stage. She was invited to render a speech and to formally present her application. Yes, mind you that some delegates from Nigeria were seated in that conference hall in that summit. The DPM, Ngozi Orabueze, took to the stage and she clearly, in a very simplified form, explained to the whole wide world the sufferings and the challenges the Biafran people are facing in the country of Nigeria. She illustratively explained every single thing, the challenges, the problems, the injustice, the insecurities, the negligence, the poor infrastructure associated in the country of Nigeria. And while she was speaking, the South Korean leaders were taking notes. Showing right now on your screen is a moment Ngozi Orabueze was clearly and categorically giving that speech. And Simon himself had to quote or had to attach the video in one of his tweets released on that said day. This speech rendered by Ngozi Orabueze got the attention of the government of South Korea. That singular speech drew a lot of empathy and sympathy to the Biafran people and to the Biafran nation. And that is when things got really interesting and very fascinating moving on forward. Yes, so the moment the South Korean government listened to the speech and rendition coming from Ngozi Orabueze, they gave sympathy and they showed empathy. And that is why a couple of hours later, the government of that country permitted the creation of the Biafran liaison office in that country. We're showing right now on your screen are pictures taken from that liaison office in South Korea. As you can clearly see, we have Ngozi Orabueze yet again in that country, standing in front of pictures and images associated with the Biafran government. So this is actually very simple to understand. This lady gave a speech in that country in a summit, and the government showed empathy. They approved the formation or the creation of a first liaison office in that country so as to help the Biafran people in South Korea in connecting with its roots in that part of the world. So now let's go to the interesting part of this whole conversation. Let's go to the interesting parts of this whole video. As stated previously, the country of South Korea will send delegates to Simon's case to witness their case firsthand and to report back to its government. How will this help Simon and how will this help his case? Well, just in case you don't know, the country of Finland and the country of South Korea have one of the best treaties, one of the best bilateral treaties in the world. So the government of Finland wouldn't want to mess with the treaties they have with South Korea. That is why tomorrow they will be on their best behavior. Just in case you don't believe me, showing right now on your screen is a quick summary and a quick briefing on the bilateral agreements between South Korea and Finland. As you can see, in March of 2025, total trade between Finland and South Korea was approximately 123 million euros, which went up at about 63% from the previous year. It also states that Finland imported over 67 million euros worth of goods from South Korea, which are electrical machinery, vehicles, and inorganic chemicals and salt. So as you can see, these guys have one of the best bilateral trade and agreements. So the country of Finland wouldn't want to in any way, shape or form mess with this bilateral trade or mess with this good relationship they have with the country of South Korea. Yes, and just in case you don't know, 5 days ago, the president of Ukraine, the president of Sweden, and the president of Denmark, Norway, and Finland had a closed-door meetings. And in that meeting, the president of Finland promised the government of Ukraine that they will support them by increasing its military strength. And one way of doing that is the importation of armored vehicles from South Korea to Ukraine, as the case may be. So as you can see, the president of Finland knows that he needs the relationship of South Korea, he needs that good bilateral trade, and he needs that strong and valid connection between these two countries at this particular point in time. And that is why he's not going to mess things up or try to play smart in any way, shape or form. This definitely will go a long way by helping Simon in his court case tomorrow, in his bail application tomorrow. And this in the long run we assist or help him in his court hearing by granting a free and fair judicial proceedings and precedents in his case. Well, moving on swiftly, we have something very interesting to discuss. Subsequent videos that many media outlets, news channels and TV stations in and around the world haven't given us clarity on. What showing right now on your screen is a publication released by the NBI, which is the National Bureau of Investigation, released on the 21st of November of 2024, which states that police request remand of 5 persons on suspicion of terrorist offenses. Yes, this was the particular day, the day and time when Simon was arrested. He was arrested alongside 4 other individuals. But then, take a look at this. Months later, the 4 individuals arrested alongside Simon were all released and acquitted of all the charges leveled against them. Yes, the government of Finland released 4 individuals arrested alongside Simon, and that was the end of this news. Over time, we did not get any clarity, we did not get any picture or news or briefing regarding these 4 other individuals. We didn't even get their names and any identity linked with these people. Why is that so? Well, in a video that will be released today by 8 p.m, we did a quick research and analysis on these 4 individuals to know who they are and their linkage between themselves and Simon. That video is going to be a very, very interesting one and packed with a lot of info. In that video, you get to see these 4 individuals, how they were linked with Simon and why these guys were actually released at that particular point in time. And like I said, that video will be released by 8 p.m. today, so do well to subscribe and turn on post notifications, because I'm pretty sure you don't want to miss out in that video briefing. Anyways, moving on swiftly, we also have a massive and a gigantic news for you in this video briefing. Yes, we have a news regarding Nnamdi Kanu, a man that is being held in the DSS facility in Abuja, Nigeria. Yes, as we speak, the Federal High Court seated in Abuja has received a clear and distinctive notification from a country in East Africa regarding Nnamdi Kanu's case. These guys have received an order that will play and go a long way in Nnamdi Kanu's case and trial. So the question here is, what is this order? How or why will it help Nnamdi Kanu going on forward? Well, we all know that on the 27th of June of 2025, that was last week, a law firm situated in Nairobi, Kenya, granted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu a 10 million naira Kenyan shillings for damages connected with the way and manner he was extradited and abducted from the country. Well, for better clarity and for a better picture, take a look at this, because we have a breaking news regarding this case. So first thing first, take a look at this publication released on the 27th of June last week, which states that breaking: Nnamdi Kanu wins, lesson for Finland to release Simon immediately. Nigeria's transnational repression must be condemned and stopped. Nnamdi Kanu, exonerated, awarded 10 million Kenyan shillings by the Kenyan High Court for the extraordinary rendition engineered by the Nigerian terrorist state headed by President Tinubu and Christopher Musa. I'll show you right now on your screen a document attached with that court case and court filings. Well, let's skip to the interesting part of this whole video and let's skip to the interesting part of this whole rendition. As we speak, the Kenyan High Court in Nairobi has sent a clear and distinctive message to the High Court in Abuja, telling them to see, you guys have put us in a situation where we need you to listen and we need you to play alongside with our court rulings. Well, just in case you don't understand what I'm saying, showing right now on your screen is a quick breakdown and a quick analysis on the outcome of the Kenyan court held in June of this said year. It states rendition deemed illegal. That is to say, the way and manner Nnamdi Kanu was abducted from Kenya to Nigeria was deemed illegal by world bodies and international courts, and he was awarded millions of Kenyan shillings for damages which amounted to 120 million naira. But then this ruling from the Nairobi court is persuasive legally but not binding, which is to say that the rulings coming from Kenyan court does not bind in Nigeria. It's only persuasive and in a legal form. But then things has actually changed. Things has changed. The High Court in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, has sent a memo and sent a document to the court in Nigeria explaining and briefing them of the outcome of the case held in Nairobi and how international bodies and international world are now much interested in the case. Well, let's take a look at some memo sent by Nairobi to Nigeria, asking them to see, please, you have to listen to us and you have to follow with our court rulings. The very first thing that was mentioned is the fact that the outcome in the High Court in Nairobi, Kenya has strengthened the argument on illegal rendition by the government of Kenya and the government of Nigeria. It states that Kanu's legal team can now point to a foreign court independent finding that the rendition was unlawful. This reinforces the claim that his continued trial in Nigeria violates international due process and may undermine the legitimacy of the Nigerian proceedings. This is actually very clear and easy to understand. The moment the court in Nairobi gave their rulings, that singular rulings triggered a lot of international bodies to look into the matter. The very first one is the fact that this reinforces the claim that the continued trial in Nigeria violates international due process.
All right, let's go straight up to the news. Yes, that was why I had to pause that video, because we want to link it with what the IPOB, media and publicity secretary Ma Powerful and the IPOB have come out to demand end to Nnamdi Kanu's trial in Nigeria after Kenya court declares rendition illegal. Yes, like we all knew, Kenya was actually going to come out, truthfully concerning the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And after that judgment in favor of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, what is the essence of going, continuing with the court trial of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, which we believe they've ended, but we are waiting for the final judgment, which will be coming later on this month. That is in about 2 to 3 weeks from now. Let us go into the news in detail. Let us hear what the indigenous people of Biafra have said. The news in detail. The indigenous people of Biafra IPOB has demanded an end to the trial of its leader Nnamdi Kanu in Nigeria following a June 24, 2025 ruling by a Kenyan High Court in Nairobi, which declared his 2021 rendition from Kenya to Nigeria illegal and unconstitutional. The court presided over by Justice E.C. Nwita found that Kanu's abduction, incommunicado detention, torture, and transfer violated his fundamental human right under Kenya and international law, awarding him 10 million Kenyan shilling, approximately 119.6 million naira, in damages against the Kenyan government. IPOB described the judgment as a judicial earthquake, arguing it confirms the rendition was an extraordinary rendition and a criminal act of state-sponsored international terrorism involving Nigeria and Kenya authorities. The group insists Kanu, a British citizen who entered Kenya lawfully, committed no crime there, and that his trial in Nigeria, where he faces charges of treasonable felony, is rooted in illegality. IPOB has vowed to pursue global accountability for those involved, citing the ruling as vindication of their stance against Kanu's detention and prosecution. So while we are still talking about, the global stage and the global attention of that Mazi Simon Èkpá has gained in the Biafran struggle, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has even gained more global recognition as both international communities are beginning to speak up concerning the immediate release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It is now clear to the whole world and to every Biafran that holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu still under the DSS custody is a waste of time, and it's just a continual torture of what he has been going through for a very long time. And on that, we demand for the immediate release of Simon Èkpá and Joko and an immediate release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Thank you once again for joining us. Please make sure you share this video and make it go viral.